Great peace, great peace. It's Juneteenth. It's Juneteenth. And the moon is shining bright in the sky. Shining bright. I want to talk about a few things, but I want to stick to two topics. Two topics. Um, it's weird, like how you have a first class city like Chicago, where like all the neighborhood streets are like well lit, and they have technicians around the clock. And you get a place like Detroit, right? All the neighborhoods aren't well lit. You know what I mean? To me, that's very, very weird, because it's like, what are they doing with the budgeting money? Like, what are the senators doing? What are the local policymakers doing? Like, what are they doing with this money? Because you can't just say like Chicago is a first class city and therefore that's why they have all the lights lit. That doesn't make sense. But I want to talk about something real quick. I remember when everybody got like acquainted with this idea of being indigenous, right? I remember that. I remember when Chief Langley started teaching about South Carolina history, right? The Gullah Geechee, the Yuchi. I remember when he came out and he was on Blog Talk Radio. I remember when 1000 Go Ahead came, but before all of them, right? Before Chief Holiday, Aboriginal Power, Lex Will, before all of them, right? Y'all Redemption, 4A3 Drop. I remember all of them. Before they came and started teaching about indigenous history, you had Taj Tariq Bey, and you had Abdullah Talib Mosey Bey teaching about etymology and how we were Moors. And then you had the guy, Dr. York, who was talking about this history. And he had a whole village. He was like one of the first ones, like contemporarily. But before all of them, you had Noble Drew Ali. Noble Drew Ali was like the main one that everybody knew was trying to wake the people up and get them to realize that they were from this landmass and that they had certain immunities around the world. Okay? So the things you see on TikTok right now, right? Where you have like everybody, all these new people, right? Where they're talking about the history and they're saying like we're indigenous and stuff. They weren't around back then. They weren't, you know? One of the main people who are around like right now who's still talking about this information is Copper Empress. Phoenix Moon is not talking about this stuff no more. Chief Warhorse is not talking about this stuff no more like that. Tasha She is not talking about this stuff no more. A lot of them are not. A lot of them are not. Johnny Aboriginal, a lot of them are not talking about this information no more. They're not. You know what I mean? But Taj Tariq Bey, he's still around. Dr. Umar Johnson, he's still around. Everybody was against Pan-Africanism. Everybody. Everybody was against Pan-Africanism and them teaching about it. Now you see the Pan-Africanism thing, the talk, right? The talks about it is coming full-fledged. It's coming full circle. Everybody is starting to recognize the fact that we need to make relationships with people across seas, and we need to find out how is these ancestry tests coming back on 23andMe and all of that, right? How are they coming back showing that, we're related to them? You know what I mean? Because the world as we see it today and why it exists, it still hasn't been explained. No one knows the full idea of what a star is. You know what I mean? Like, no one knows the full idea of what a lightning bug is to do. Like, a lot of these things, right? A lot of these things. So, like, just be grateful for this Juneteenth, man. And, like, continue to learn, continue to teach, continue to, like, really, like, understand, like, what is going on in the world. Because, a lot of this stuff, man, we take for granted. A lot of this stuff we take for granted. A lot of this information that we have at our hands, it's not going to be around. It's not going to be around long. That's why we got to safe keep it. We can't expect our oppressor to keep this stuff around, like, just to keep us to where, like, we can learn and stuff. Like, this stuff gotta be safe keep. This stuff gotta be printed out, put on floppy disks, put on DVDs and movies and stuff like that. This stuff gotta be safe keep. Like, the idea of a DVD player, like, are they even still around? Like, can you hook a DVD player up to these new screen model TVs? Like, I don't think so. Like, can you? You know what I mean? So, like, just be grateful about this idea, Juneteenth, man. Cause, like, before 2012, before 2011, a lot of this information just wasn't out readily. Like, the stuff that people were teaching on and stuff like that, like, you had to go find this information. Now this stuff is just, we're at the pinnacle right now, what they're teaching. We're at the pinnacle. Tariq Nasheed is teaching about this stuff now. A lot of them. A lot of them. So I'm about to head in and listen to a couple podcasts and get a feel for what's going on. Great peace, Yakoki. See that moon? See that moon? We free. So there's no more excuses. We free now. There's no more excuses. We're free. So this is my talk about Juneteenth. We're free now. There's no more excuses. We're free. So, idea of sending your children to school and stuff like that to get a job later, that's off the table. We got to go back to farming land and taking care of land and being the gatekeepers of the land. We got to go back to that. It's over with. Jobs and stuff like that, we don't need it. You know what I'm saying? It's over with. We got our freedom back. It's over with. We done working for free. Peace.